Good day, everybody. Welcome to today's video. Things are working out pretty good. I managed to take the TJ out for its first rip on the highway, and the 8.8 didn't blow apart, so that's a good sign. However, we got some issues that I need to take care of in this video, and that is to get the skid pan sorted out. I need to fix up the transfer case mount, and I need to figure out what to do with that starter situation. These are the problems to deal with when you do an LS swap. I'm going to have to get back underneath and have a look, because I was going to modify the exhaust to change out the starter. However, the amount of times you're going to have to change out a starter, I might just leave it the way it is, because I got a starter on the mill that I picked up from the junkyard because we're having issues either with the battery or starter with this. I think it's the battery, but I also have some issues with the solenoid disengaging while it's cranking over. Anyways, for what it's worth, it might not be too much of a hassle just to drop the 6 bolts for the header and then drop it down, have it rest on the skid pan to get your hands up. I'm going to have to investigate. Also in the last video, I picked up the new GoPro Hero 10 and I was waiting to get the lens protectors, and I got one put on before I can start using it, because the last thing I want to do is damage the lens so early in the game. Came with its own little cute tripod, some accessories like this magnet mount, which may come in handy when you're out wheeling. So I can just mount it to the side of the Jeep somewhere. Well, this is the moment of truth. This is the GoPro Hero 10, and I'm back to the skid pan here. And what I'm going to talk about doing is, if you watched the last video, I talked about the issues with the cross member here that comes across, because the drive shaft has about 1/2 inch clearance, 3/4 inch of clearance. And with any type of articulation, it's going to end up rubbing, especially now that I got the lift kit. So I talked about using the tube bender that's covered up with the welding blanket that right now, and it's already got the 1 inch die in there, which is good. So what I'm thinking about doing is cutting this off. I'm going to have to make something, a hoop that goes the opposite way, but I can't weld it in place. I'm going to have to make it so that I can unbolt, because obviously, you know, if the hoop goes up like that, the drive shaft sits underneath. So that's basically how that's going to work. Struggle's real. Skid pan is mounted, and now you can see looking straight at it. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna make some sort of bracket, and of course, if you can see in there, I want to fix that transfer case mount up. Just jacked up the front end. Not quite full drop, but I want to see where I'm sitting. So now you see where I'm sitting, and that's where that 2 inch drop came into play, because then it drops it enough that it's not going to hit. But I sacrificed that to bring it back up. So now what am I going to do? There's a couple options. Like I said, I could build a hoop that goes up underneath, or I could come around the back and then come up to here. I got this small scrap piece. See what we can conjure up with it. Well, I did all that bending, and then I realized, why bother trying to redesign the wheel with that bend going up. I'll just cut it off there, reutilize the old mount, cut the old mount off short so it clears the drive shaft, weld it in, so then I just have the hoop. I think that's the best case scenario. Before you do any welding on a vehicle, you want to disconnect the battery. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Power's out. Everything's cut, grinded, ready to weld. I'm going to lay it down on the skid pan right there for some added strength. So now I'm having to change a mind until I can figure out something else better. Because if you look up here, how I got my mount, you can see I die grinded that one post so I can get the nut off to remove the transfer case. But I can't come straight out. As you can see, I'd run into the bolt and the flange for the transfer case mount. I mean, the only thing I could do is redesign it with a pillar that goes straight down and then weld on another plate, but I'm still not gaining nothing from that. Or I could just bolt that plate on the bottom and then throw the two washers, but I broke it up, so I don't know. I think I'm just gonna let that be for right now. I figure out something else, but should start on dropping this exhaust for the starter. Well, this is going to be kind of a pain in the butt. So now coming underneath here, you see where the starter is, and that other bolt is kind of hidden. So I need to come up with a way that I can get the starter out, and I think I'm going to have to make the exhaust pipe so it's detachable, but I need to drop it down first. Pretty sure just got the exhaust pulled out. Got to make some changes to it so I can access the starter a little bit more easier. You won't see through the glare of the windshield, but I'm at my favorite place, Pick and Pull. Apparently they might have a TDI Jetta in here, so I'm going to see what's all left to salvage for parts. They did have a diesel Sprinter van, so I sent Fedora a text message and some pictures, and so he could come here and salvage some parts. And I was off to try to find the Jetta, but I couldn't find it. Then it was time for Tomcat cuddles. That's what he likes to do. So hard to get anything done when you got a Tomcats laying on you, cuddling away. But I'm back in the garage. Yesterday, I did get some bolts and some other things. I'll show you guys this in a minute, though. But the upper control arms I originally put in with the socket head caps, and I'm going to replace them with an actual bolt that I picked up, because once that exhaust is back in, I can't get those bolts in or out, and it's a good opportunity to swap them out because these have been in there for a few years. And and I got some more of these, a different type of O-ring. These are for the ARB dipstick O-ring, and they're 17 by 3.5 mil. So just in case the other ones don't work out, I got these ones here. Get some grease on that bolt, ready to rock and roll. So you can see underneath here, scoot over to this side here, see the upper control arm where bolts in. There is absolutely no room between that and the header once it's put in. So like I said, I just want to get that all changed out. Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. The bolt has seized through the inner pin of that bushing. So what I did is I used that long wrench right there to spin that out a little bit, and used an air hammer over there, and all it is just bending that flange out. Damn it. Well, I had Big Bertha out there, the good old Ingersoll Rand, but yeah, I'm not going to get that out unless I destroy the bushing. So this is one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. So I'm just going to leave that be for right now. I don't want to leave things half-assed because I'll probably definitely regret it later on. I do have a backup. I do have the upper control arms from the rear that were a complete set, so worst comes to worst, I could just stick one of those in with the bushing, but I'm going to try again to free it up tomorrow and see. All right, this is where we're gonna do a thing. We're either gonna succeed or the old Sawzall is gonna have to come out. I picked up some new blades today from Princess Auto. We got the Power Fister 18 TPI. Hopefully those will be all right. But what I'm gonna do, the issue that I'm having is that when I'm pushing on the bolt, the bracket for the control arm spreads. So I got this little spacer made out of scrap steel that just fits in there perfectly. And I'm gonna use some best clamps to clamp it down so that way it can't move. And once I back it off, hit it with the old IR, or maybe use the punch, try to get her done. Let's see what's gonna happen. So hopefully you can see, put my finger in there. I got it flush, so you see the gap right now. Let's get that Bessie clamp mounted up. Well, there's absolutely no guarantee that this is gonna work. Now there's gonna be a very good chance that after the first couple hits, that those Bessie clamps are gonna fall down. Yeah, just as I thought, the only thing to move, of course, was the bushing. Bushing coming up. One blade, no good. There goes another one. Broke off up inside. So I've cut through, and you can see that's the washer and that's part of the bushing. So now what I did is that I took my pry bar because the blade kept on getting stuck, so I bent that ear out a bit. I want to cut the bolt off on this side. I don't want to cut into that other thing. So I created enough room right there that I should be able to get the Sawzall back in there and then zip that bolt off quickly. Once you start smoking like that, you're not doing anybody any favors. This is definitely painful. Shit show around here never ceases to amaze me. Got them all out. I got that tab stuck in there. And I got that control arm is seized. All right. That thing is seized good. So, just gonna toss some anti-seize on those threads. I didn't touch the jam nut, so the other ones were the same size. I'll have to do a measurement afterwards, but for right now I should be able to thread this up and I should be good. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna salvage this. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is gonna work because I mushroomed it too much. I tried 2 different styles of extractors, so I just knocked that out. I do have a stainless nut I can tack weld up inside there. Alright, let's work on getting some of those bolts back in up there. New bolt. Looks like we're getting started. My one that I welded up. There I am. New bolts are put in. I'm dreading when I'm going to replace these lower control arms. I have a feeling that they're not going to be any better. At least those ones have grease nipples for the upper bolts. Whether or not over the years they've been taking any. $10 I spent buying packaged blades. And I used them all. Just cutting that. $10 down the drain. That just goes to show you the shit show is always waiting. Opening up a can of worms right there, man. I should just let it be. Just ignored it. But, you know, probably would have came back later on to kick me in the butt. So, kind of glad. And I greased the bolts. But, yeah. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Frustrated as heck. Alright, shut her down. I'm gonna fucking finish drinking this beer. I just finished doing a live stream. And I'm fucking glad that I was able to salvage one of my other ones. And I just have to look at pressing this bushing out. Seeing about getting a new one. And those control arms be used as a backup for a future project. But anyways, motherfucking beer time. Level stress to the max. That's going to be one of the jobs I dread the most, is when any kind of bolt gets stuck in a bushing. Because there is no easy way about it. Sometimes you get lucky and you can get it out. But when you got those poly bushings, they're pretty solid. And it's not like a rubber bushing where you can fucking burn them out. I mean, you're fighting with those. So my word of advice, if you can get greasable bolts, or make sure those are super greased and take them out like every other year, then you won't be dealing with that issue, because it is what it is. Anyways, motherfucking beer time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next one. Shut her down.